The life of the party, one was on Kickstarter, made $8 million. I don't know the exact number. Probably $8 billion. Bears versus babies. Mm-hmm. Of course, from the people behind Exploding Kittens and the Oatmeal. Why don't you explain to the people at home what this game is about?
So you do not want to lose to the babies. Mm-hmm. So to do so, you're going to craft creatures, monsters, which some of them may be bears, because bears are the best at this, and try to defeat the army of babies. Babies come in 3 flavors: land, sky, and water. Or ocean? Something like that.
You got it.
You get the point. And you're same with your monsters. You're going to try to build up your monster army before your opponent calls battle for one of the types, and then everyone competes to see who has the strongest monsters versus the babies. If the babies have more strength, the babies win. If whoever has the most strength otherwise gets the babies as points. Whoever has the most babies when the decks run out wins.
Right, so as you said, there's 3 different piles, and so for instance, someone would say, I'm just triggering the land pile, and if you have a water monster, it doesn't matter. It's not taking part in that right now.
And what will often happen is people will call out the baby army when you only have like one part of your monster.
Right, and if win or lose, when that triggers, you lose to that monster, all those parts, and you have to rebuild it. You always have to start with a head, but then there's arms, there's feet, and there's also some accessories you can get. So you can end up with, and of course they're all weird, wacky.
And of course there's a not safe for work one, which we won't really talk about, but you can let your mind go to places.
It is very not safe for work. If you've played Exploding Kittens or seen any of it, you know the sense of humor and the art style that's going to be in there, but the gameplay is pretty different. If people have watched the show, you know I am not a fan of Exploding Kittens. So going into this, I had very low expectations, and they were pretty much met.
Really? I felt that they actually went below them.
Maybe you may be right. I'm just trying to be a little nice. I'll just start. It's basically I found it. I think I said I actually kind of appreciate Exploding Kittens. Maybe
you
more.
did. You absolutely said. I remember you'd much rather play Exploding Kittens than this from now on.
And I think I feel that way because Exploding Kittens Exploding Kittens knows what it is. It is full-on randomness. It's Russian roulette. It's basically right, or hot potato, or what is it, Russian roulette? One of those kind of games. It could be both, maybe. Where you're drawing a card. It's stupid. It's simple. It's for a Cards Against Humanity crowd. This game, I feel like, thinks it's better than that, and isn't. It definitely tries to have, it feels, at least on the surface, more like a game, like there is more strategy there, but there's still so much randomness on the other end of it that I found that all that strategy almost didn't even matter. A lot of times a lot of the things that I did were just either became pointless a turn or 2 later, or my entire turn was pointless. And for a lot of the game, I felt like I wasn't even doing anything.
I would like to point out while he's saying all that, and score-wise, he beat me. I had a whopping score of 1 card that gave me 0 points.
Well, let's also say the person who won had what, like 15 points or something, and everyone else had like at most 5.
And my problem with the game, I don't know whether maybe because we had I felt like almost all the babies came out the very first turn.
Yeah, we had a big baby turnout early on.
So before anyone could build up. But once one person got points, it was just strategic to him to pretty much call every turn and just ruin any time anyone had a chance to build.
No, absolutely. If you have any kind of a lead in the game, there's no reason to let other people get ahead of you.
And it's very easy to make sure of that.
Yeah, it's super easy. And most of the game is, first of all, you need a head to start. And for much of it, was just desperately trying to find one. And if you don't have one, you can't play any cards.
I was getting a few heads, but that was it. And then, of course, I'd play the head. I'm like, all right, this is a water head. I build up. I'm calling water. Well, there it goes.
Yeah, once you finally get something started, I mean, you might have it for 2 rounds if you're lucky. And I guess the upside to that is, they want you to be having fun and like creating brand new monsters and not like getting used to just the same one each round. But it really felt like I just couldn't get invested in building anything because I knew it was going to be gone in
particular,
turn.
because the one person had such a good lead, he was going to make sure that didn't stay on the field.
And my other big disappointment was one of the things you can do is draw cards on your turn. But if you draw a baby, it goes right into one of the baby stacks.
And takes up your draw. So.
And that's it. So a lot of my turns, I would draw 2 babies, and that was it. And essentially, you lose a turn. And it felt like I was doing the game's job for it. Like, the game should be doing that to the deck. I shouldn't need me there for that kind of a thing. So yeah, I really didn't like it. I don't know. I assume you liked it a little more than I did, but I don't.
To be honest, I want to give it one more because I just feel like that first maybe there's so many babies out in the beginning that somehow ruined maybe, but like I definitely enjoyed. I won't argue with. I definitely think Exploding Cats is a lot more fun.
Yeah.
And I think maybe this game would work if you're dealing with people who don't play board games. Otherwise, because the people in our group are all very competitive people who are going to call out and make sure they do what they can.
Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe it's literally that if you're not trying as hard.
So we suggest you have at least a full bottle of Jack Daniels before going into this.
I really felt like this is like if you've just played Munchkin, like maybe try this out as a side game. And even...
I don't know. I actually think that's worse because Munchkin teaches you the backstab.
Yeah, right. But I mean, yeah, but it's certainly in that wheelhouse, I think, whereas the other one was more like, Exploding Kittens is more in the Cards Against Humanity, where there isn't even a game. It's just kind of silliness.
Well, the thing is, I feel like there actually was, because my choices mattered still more in that. I mean, it was still Russian roulette style, but it felt it was very hard. Ironically, even though you had, in essence, one life to deal with an exploding kitten, I felt like you had a lot more choices to deal with it. And even if you did die, it was hilarious. But in this, I felt it was more of a stranglehold.
Yeah, it at least felt like you had somewhat of an influence on whether you live or die, rather than other people. Yeah, and I also, it feels like they could, like we were talking about, what if there were different decks for each body part type? That might help a little bit. Or maybe the game should refill the babies every so often, like each round. More like what I kind of thought it was going to be just from hearing the description before playing it was almost more like a Castle Panic, like wave-based thing where the babies would come out and like everybody would have to defend against them. So almost like a semi-co-op kind of thing. But it's not like that at all. And you also always know. There's a couple different things in there, like you can have masks that cover their heads.
Yeah, except, the one time I used the mask, our friend called out and just wiped the creature.
Right, but so basically you are going to know if you're beating someone or not. You're always going to know, is it in my interest to call? It's not. Or it is, so you will. Like there's very little element of surprise or any reason to like wait. You just, yeah. I don't know. It's not a fun game. Honestly, like Exploding Kittens, like I said, like it's not my cup of tea, but I can see why people can have fun with that game. This, I haven't looked at any online reactions. I'm curious. Like
I haven't either. So I'm very curious about that. But I will say this: remember, I kept my promise. I gave it to my brother.
You gave it to your brother. That was great. Right after we finished playing, I was just talking about how much I hated it, and you're like, "By the way, this is a present for you." Good luck. If you enjoyed this video, it was just a snippet of our full-length podcast, which you can find on our YouTube channel every week. So please go ahead, like, and subscribe for more board game-related content coming at you in the future.
And don't forget to check out rollforcrit.com, where we actually sell a lot of the games we talked about, as well as post news and all our other videos. Until then, I'm Will Keeler.
I'm Jonathan Estes, and this is Roll for Crit.